Welcome to episode 57 of the Rebel Army podcast, the official podcast of Cork City Football Club. And this week we get a chance to talk to Jackie Lennox. Back after a little break with the podcast, joined as always by Aaron. How are you?
Very good, Stephen. How are you?
Much better after the last 2 weeks. I suppose we were putting on a kind of a brave face 2 weeks ago. We were being optimistic, but the last two results for the men's team have been very, very positive.
Yeah, particularly that home game against Galway.
Yeah.
Brilliant, phenomenal result.
An early goal and a good goal by
brilliant
Josh.
Goal, yeah. What a goal. What a way to get your first Cork City goal.
Yeah.
What a hit. But yeah, that was brilliant. That was great atmosphere as well that day. Everyone was very, very happy at full time. And then there was the Derry game last Friday, which is a very long trek, and there was a number of City fans made the trip there as well, and you could see we weren't there. We were in the cinema. We'll come back to that.
We were in the cinema, yeah.
You could see on the stream they were there. They were active all night. You could see the reaction at full time. Like that was a well-earned point from a Cork City
result
point of view.
there, because that was it was tough. Away to Derry, the long trip, as you say, it's not straightforward. And Derry are a good team. Derry are kind of battling the top for Europe. That's a really good result.
Yeah, they're, as you said, they're in a different situation to what we're in. But to go up there, it's such a long trip that a point is always a good result, no matter what part of the table you're in. A point up there is a good result. So, really good. I really enjoyed it. The fact that in the cinema there was a good atmosphere going as well in the Arc Cinema. So that was really good from a club and overall club point of view as well.
It was my first time in there now. And
what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was very good because you don't know what to expect. But, when people are kind of celebrating, not celebrating because there was no goal, but they kind of clapping
people
when
cheering
somebody does
and clapping.
well, or, it feels
wrong, doesn't it? It feels weird in a cinema to be doing it.
It feels kind of weird, but then is it any different from watching a match in a pub? So...
I think it's just normally 9 times out of 10 when you're going to the cinema, you're sitting there in darkness, in silence, no phones, no nothing for 2 hours, whereas here, the lights are on, people are up, people are shouting, people are clapping and all this. It's just, especially when I know there was no goal, but earlier in the season we have a video of when we did score against Derry. It's just a strange experience, but everyone who goes there seems to enjoy it.
I think it's a good one. I have to say the seats are very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
With that helps. Recliner.
That helps. You don't get them at Turner's Cross or the Brandywell.
If the game was a bit drab, you might fall asleep.
Wouldn't be the first time someone's fallen asleep in the cinema.
No. I've fallen asleep plenty of times myself. A bad film over the years or late at night or something. But the screen, the facilities are fantastic in the Arc.
It's brilliant, and to be fair to the Arc Cinema themselves, they're a great partner to us. They've been really pushing this all year and wanting to show live matches, which was something that suits us.
Great to see the two signed jerseys down in the Defy area as
well.
Yeah.
We kind of have our own little shrine in the cinema, which is good. And anyone who goes in there gets to see that and gets to see us, which is brilliant. So it's a really good partnership for the club and for them.
Yeah, I know. And in the middle of a summer when the weather was good on Friday night as well, it was good to see such a decent crowd. It was nearly full. Lots of people there, all different ages as well. Groups of pals together, families, couples. There was kind of all different combinations.
You get a big mix, and that's the one thing. Before we ever did this, we were kind of trying to predict. Just wonder what we'll get. The first one there was a mixed bag. Second one was the same, and same the other night. It's kind of for everyone.
I mean, the popcorn goes down well, I suppose, with the.
And at half time, people get to run out again and refill their drinks or get something else.
We're going to a normal film or something like that, so there's a bit more up and down, and it's accepted a bit better,
Yeah, no one's shouting at you to get off your phone. In fact, nearly everyone's on the phone taking pictures and taking videos. So, good experience and made better by getting a point as well.
Hopefully, that momentum continues. Massive game on Friday night.
Huge one.
I know it's a distraction from the league because the league is obviously so important to us, and the fact that Sligo they lost at the weekend. So we're 7 points?
7 points now, yeah.
So, what were we it's bit by bit we're slowly catching. Wasn't that long ago? I think we were 11.
Yeah. It's the gap is narrowing. Yeah, as you said, we'd obviously much rather be back into playing in the league and carrying the momentum into the league. That's definitely what I would want anyway.
But the cup is a lovely distraction. There is, there's not that many rounds of fixtures if you look at it and really realistically. It's a derby. Kit on the last time, he was looking forward to it. The last time we played Waterford at the Cross, he scored a winner late on.
Yeah, we weren't starved of entertainment that night anyway. So like, look, it's the fixture that everybody's always up for.
Yeah.
And the players relish it, especially the atmosphere you get in a game like that. I know it, like, to us it's just a local derby. To Waterford come down and they love playing against Cork City. All their banners, their chants, everything is about Cork City. They love that. It's their big day.
Yeah.
From Cork City point of view, it's a local derby where we always get a big crowd for it. You see the reaction the last day at the Cross. Something like that again would be phenomenal. Interestingly, we have them again in 2 weeks at the Cross in the league.
That would be a huge game.
Which is equally, if not more, important than this
Probably
Friday.
more important, but yeah.
But yeah, like it's a very, it's the business end now. Do you know what I mean? It's we'd love to kick it off with extending a cup run on Friday.
Yeah, get it, like, and obviously it has to be settled on the night.
Yeah.
That is the big thing. Extra time and penalties if required. So
could be a long one.
It could be a long one, but wouldn't it be fantastic if this momentum, the win against Galway, the draw against Derry, and then to go on and win the cup, it'd
be brilliant. And looking
just
beyond that,
confidence.
if you were to get a result in this round of the cup, you look at the other teams, the other fixtures in the round. There are some other ties that you'd want to face winners of those ties as well if you could. Do you know what I mean? So there's
a couple of big names gone as well. Already,
and there's a couple of big names playing other big names that will take some out even in this round.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to see sort of the state of who's left by Saturday morning and see how the cup is looking. But yeah, look, as you said, the cup is great. It's all about the league. The league is what is absolutely undoubtedly more important to everybody.
Yeah. But momentum is all, like, I'd imagine Jordan, Dave and stuff in the team, they're probably thinking, okay, if we can keep this run going, the confidence alone will knock on into the league as well.
Well, that's the thing. Look, if we can beat Waterford on Friday, then you're bringing even more momentum into Bows away in the league, and who knows how their cup game is going to go this weekend, and it could be a different situation by next Friday.
I mean, you only have to look at Drogheda last year. The momentum of the cup nearly got them over the line in the end as well.
Yeah, Drogheda had a really
they kind of came at the season, the back end of the season for Drogheda. Everyone wrote them off.
Yeah,
back end of the season they kind of came. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So it could happen.
Yeah,
I hope it does happen, and it can happen. We're capable of making it happen
without a doubt. So
it's the old football cliche. It has to go game by game, but
tickets are obviously on sale everywhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah, all the usual places. If you want to get them online, that's always the easiest way to get them. ccfc.ie/tickets. And just a reminder as well, it's cup game, so your season tickets aren't valid.
Yes.
So season ticket holders do need to pick up tickets for this one.
Yeah, so hopefully come out and support the guys. And if it's anything like the Galway, because I think that there was definitely a change or something. I felt that the support behind the players was really good at the Galway game.
Oh, it's phenomenal, yeah.
I know Aina had asked for that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and to be fair, it has been entirely anyway, but it's almost gone to another level the last couple of weeks for Galway and Derry, which has been phenomenal. And
so,
you need that. So the more
of that, the better. I suppose the women are off this week, but they were playing last week. They had another tough result.
Yeah, no league game this week. There is a friendly tomorrow night in Fota, behind closed doors friendly. But last weekend it was Sligo away, so it was 2 long, difficult trips for the first teams. Ended in a 2-0 defeat. First goal was kind of a mix up the back, and Sligo got through and scored. Second goal was late on. It kind of sealed it for them in I think it was around the 90th minute, if not stoppage time. So tricky one. That's been a tough couple of weeks. But again, the break this weekend now would probably come at a good time. And then next up is Peamount at home in a couple of weeks' time on the 23rd. So
the academy have been busy though.
Yeah, they're all still in action. So we had so the men's under 20s beat Shells away 2-1. The 17s lost away to Shelburne 4-0. 14s beat Shells away 4-2. Women's 17s lost 2-0 to Shells. Everybody was playing Shells at the AUL complex last weekend. There was a lot going on.
Except the senior teams.
Yeah. The men's 15s beat Shamrock Rovers away 1-0. And then on Sunday, the women's under 19s were at home against Bray. And they had a really big win. So lots of goals on that one.
There was more wins than defeats there. Which
exactly, yeah. So another busy weekend.
And I see some of them have been called up to the under 17s.
Yeah, there's 3 away with the under 17s this week. Tom McGrath, Ike Manjor, and Killian Murphy. So
Brilliant
they're
to
all
see.
away. I think they're playing Hungary, Turkey and Iceland in Hungary. So they're all away for the week. And just as we're talking about the academy players, we've actually, by the time this is out, we will have announced that 6 academy players have been given professional contracts. So that's
fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always been academy players, coming out and getting a professional contract, but 6 at once is a big thing for the club, and
Huge.
I think it's a really positive thing for the club and the academy as a whole. It highlights the work that Cairns is doing in the academy, and obviously those boys at their previous schoolboy clubs as well. Phenomenal work being done across Cork and beyond there, because I know there's 2 from Limerick, but Killian Murphy, Ike Manjor, Charlie Hanover, Brodie Lee, Donal O'Connor and Luke Downey have all been given professional contracts, which I think is brilliant for the club.
Yeah, I know, and I'm sure if they're getting professional contracts, they're kind of pushing to get into the first team action in the next couple of years, I'd say.
Yeah, look, these are all lads who will have been in training with the first team as well. So Jar, David, Nulls, the whole coaching staff will have seen them and seen what they're about and seen what they're capable of. And they're all lads who've been in the academy and featured at different age groups in the academy. So they know what Cork City is about. They know what's expected of them as Cork City players. So they know what they're stepping into. And yeah, it's brilliant to see for everyone. So we wish them all the best with that.
But I suppose we're also coming to that period of the year where it's nearly back to school. I know if anyone's listening to this, there's probably teenagers listening to this saying, shut up.
Yeah, don't remind me. Yeah. But if you are going back to school or you have a little one going back to school, wouldn't they look lovely going in the door in a Cork City jacket? ccfc.ie/back to school.
Whoa.
There's loads of bits there, backpacks, jackets.
Designed by yours truly, is it?
Yeah, sure, look. Loads of bits up there.
Your back to school collection.
The back to school collection is there. So if you are looking for a few small bits, and obviously there's the rest of the shop as well if someone wanted to pick up a jersey for those PE afternoons and stuff like that. Plenty of Cork City bits to choose from.
I know, and like you definitely see it. I see it more and more all the time. There's lots of Rebel Army gear around the city.
Do you know what?
Like
I think that's something.
I'm seeing it.
That's something that I've noticed a lot of this year. Like, to be honest, I've noticed it the last couple of years anyway, that I'm seeing more and more of it out and about. But maybe it's just because the Rebel Army gear, this stuff, the colours are different, so they stand out a bit more from, a black Adidas tracksuit or whatever. But I'm seeing a lot of it. I'm seeing it on people I didn't expect to see it on, which is more exciting than seeing it on Cork City fans in a way, because it's kind of like, it's spreading beyond the fan base.
Affordability, I think, is a big thing there too, in particular with the jersey, because if you look at the big clubs across Europe now and stuff like that, it seems to be getting more expensive to buy the kits. So I'd imagine if people are buying a birthday present or something like that, they're probably saying, we get a Cork City top because it's more reasonable.
Yeah, that's an option now than spending €120 on a Premier League jersey. It's gone ridiculous.
It's gone out of birthday kind of presents kind of you know what I mean? So like an aunt or an uncle there or grandparents or whatever might be buying an old top or something for somebody, and they might say, we'll go down to the shop in Douglas and pick it up. Yeah. And
if you go to the shop, like you've been in there yourself, there's a big range there now. There's a lot more than the usuals that we used to have. And that's something we always want to grow. Like, we're hard at work now in terms of all the 2026 stuff. We've had samples in and things look really good. So we're really, really excited about where that's at. So
look forward to seeing the designs and seeing it yet. No.
Yeah, see, this is the part now where like I'm nervous. Like, we're all happy with it, but I'm nervous. I want people to like them. Do you know what I mean? But I look, they're another while down the road from being released.
We get the season over with.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot more to be done this year first before I can start looking at next year. But it's one of those things that has to be done. No matter what time of the year or whatever, what's going on. It's a long-term thing that we have to be working on in the background. So, but first impressions with them are very positive, and I think people will like them, the whole range. So we'll see.
Be interested to see if our next guest likes them. I'm sure he had to deal with a couple of kits over the years. I know there was some very popular ones with the likes of Nissan and all of that. That was huge.
Yeah, all the ones that I want to get my hands on still to this day. So I'm looking forward to hearing about this.
Yeah, so I think it's time to bring in Brian Lennox. Welcome to the podcast, Brian.
Thank you, Stephen.
I suppose you've been on our kind of hit list for a while because a lot of people have asked, a lot of people are fond of your time at the club. But if we go back even further to begin with, your football journey, I suppose, started with your father, was it?
Yes. My father played with Cork Athletic back in the 50s. They won the double. Oh my God, they used to play in the Mardyke where UCC now play.
Yeah.
There were huge crowds there. There were superstars at the time. Of course, you had no television.
Of course, like so, the whole thing with English football and that wouldn't have been as popular back then because you couldn't see it.
Well, yeah, all you could do was look at the newspaper. But my father, being an Englishman himself, he came and lived. The family had a hotel in Crosshaven,
Okay.
so he played with Crosshaven first, and then moved to Cork Athletic. He was good enough, and so he played for a few years. Then opened the chipper, started a family, and back in the 70s when Cork Hibs were doing well, he got involved in the directorship of Cork Hibs.
What was he involved in Hibs? He was.
Yeah, and he used to bring me into. Do you remember? Or any people out there might remember the old dressing room in Flower Lodge.
Flower Lodge, yeah.
There was a little room where the directors used to look out a window, they just. Oh, they were strange people. They were the people with the cigars and the heavy overcoats and all this. My father, being a man who worked in a chip shop, wasn't one of them, but the rest of them were. And there was a few incidents. I was given a bottle of lemonade and told to go into the corner. I was only about 4 years old. And I remember one incident where a man called John Herrick, who was an Irish international, and he took a free kick while the ball was rolling. The directors went off their game. Get him in here now. We'll talk to him after the game. That's embarrassing. An international player taken. And they came in after the game and they killed him. And then there was the player manager, a fellow called Dave Bicuzzi.
Yeah.
He went up. They were winning 3-1. He went up and got a goal. What the hell is he doing? He was a defender. What is he doing over the halfway line? Get him in here. After the game, they brought him in and gave him a right doing off for going over the halfway line. No, he was your player manager.
It's crazy stuff, like.
So
it's not, that should be left to him to decide.
Yeah, but this was how it was. And one of the things that stuck in my mind also was that they were getting huge gates at the time, and they were, winning leagues and whatever.
They were kind of like Waterford would have kind of been the other big club around that time,
been
wasn't
the club, yeah. But they decided that I remember somebody came in and said the examiner outside the door, because the examiner would get in for nothing, and all the press. And they decided, one of them decided anyway, tell the press, no way, we don't need them. Well, the backlash was unreal the following week, because none of us could tell you, the radio back then, you didn't know anything about the scores.
Of course, yeah.
And so there was a backlash. There was no print. There was nothing to say how the games went or anything like that.
So there was a blanket ban in from the likes of the Examiner and the Echo and all of them at the time.
Yeah. And eventually, that same man came up about 3 weeks later and said, you better get onto them and tell them to come in and we'll have a talk. Again, I was a little fellow sitting down the corner of a bottle of
lemonade. But you were taking all this in.
I obviously was, because, and little did I think, there was about 12 of them there. Little did I think that little fellow in the corner would be actually doing it on his own.
In the future.
And
but who were these? These 12 men at the time, were they a mix of business people in Cork?
Yes, I could give names, but I won't. But they also used to do a strange thing, which I found very strange. The gates, see, the AOH owned the ground.
Okay.
Flower Lodge. And they also did the gates. As in the AOH is like the MFA doing the gates in Turner's Cross.
Yes.
So it was they were doing the gates, and they would come up to Cork Hibs and said, with a bag of money, and said, this is what you made today. And everybody thought it was normal. I found that very strange. And then some gates, you'd see them saying, all right, they'd actually say, there's 5 for you, 5 for you, 5 for you. They were paying, the directors were paying themselves out of, there was no kind of...
there was no auditing, there was no accounts people there.
No, back then, nothing like that. But there was no rating day fund.
Yeah.
And soon, just another Irish team without, or another Cork team without a football.
But they were bringing in players from England at the time. They were superstars that had been playing for the likes of Chelsea and Bolton and a few others that were getting probably decent wages. They were being paid nearly more than England, I'm sure.
They would have been, but they loved it over here. My brother-in-law, Dave Wigginton, he was a superhero to me and to an awful lot of Cork followers. He had a chipper in Blackrock called Wiggies, but they all worked as well. They weren't on full-time, some of them worked in shoe shops, in bars, So they weren't full time. They were
So
all
they were kind
part-time.
of paid to play, kind of like a guest appearances kind of a thing, like, were they?
No. They actually had a contract, but it wouldn't have been that much. It wouldn't have been a livable wage.
Okay.
So it wasn't. There would have been. There might have been English rejects.
Yes.
So their manager, Brian Clough, who was running Derby at the time, he sent over Wiggy and Ludzik, as far as I remember, to Celtic and Hibs to get game time. But actually, you might as well sign him as well. So it was strange times, but they settled down in Cork because they were superstars here. They were big fish in a small pond, and the Cork people loved them. And the old English accent, even though behind their backs we used to kill them. But
it was kind of something exotic in many ways,
Yeah.
wasn't it? They're from the big league across the pond, like.
And if you name the Hibs team back then, it's like a Hollywood script, like Bucuzzi, Wigginton, Marsden. You know, the names were, and most importantly, it was a settled team, so you knew what you were getting into every game.
Yeah.
You knew who the team was.
Yeah.
And
mixed with a couple of our own lads then as well, like some Moya Dennehy and stuff like that.
Nola Manny and we actually had a reunion there a couple of weeks ago. Well, actually, Carl Davenport organised it in the Friars Walk Tavern, and it was lovely to meet up with some of the old players. Unfortunately, there's not many of them left.
Yeah.
But they would have remembered me as that young fellow because Wiggy used to bring me into the dressing room as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, these superstars, and I was standing there. And Wiggy used to bring me to the training as well. He used to, obviously, he was babysitting me as such.
Yeah.
So we used to go to the quarry, which was alongside Flower Lodge, and they used
Is that where they trained? Was it?
They used to run up and down that. No, they couldn't go on the pitch in Flower Lodge, so they used to use the banks around the pitch.
Around that area.
So, I that's where.
So you got a football education through that, really? It was in your blood?
I did, so it was kind of in the blood.
So, like, obviously, Cork Hibs folded then. Like, was your dad involved when that happened?
He would been. It was folded in the old Stardust in Grand Parade, and he was the chairman of the meeting that said that we have no money. We'll have to close down. At the time, believe it or not, Cork Hibs were in America. Playing in exhibition games. I don't ask me why.
Stuff,
Damien Richardson actually was on that team.
Yeah.
And back here, the club was folded. So it was strange times, and Celtic went out of business then a few years later.
So they were still running for another while.
Yes.
Cork Celtic, who would have been playing in Turner's Cross at the time, I presume, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then everything is a bit hazy after that.
Then it kind of just went. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
couple of years, but I think there was one or two other little clubs, but not major, until obviously Cork City was founded in 1984.
Yeah.
Were you a supporter when it first opened, or what was your dad's opinion when they first opened? Like they got the club back up and running.
I know he was a season ticket holder, as was I.
Yeah.
We sponsored him, and we always sponsored, like before them there was Cork United.
Yeah.
And so we were always sponsoring, and there was a love for the clubs, obviously. So it was interesting. I mean, the whole idea of going out to Bishopstown was a great adventure. And in fairness now to Pat O'Donovan, he did his best, and he has a stadium that's still standing, the only one.
Yeah.
He actually said I'm going to build a stadium, and he built a stadium.
He was a visionary in many ways. Maybe he was ahead of himself.
Oh, totally.
Because if you remember back then, like I remember going to Bishopstown for those games when they first went out, that felt like it was in the middle of nowhere. Like it wasn't as built up as it is today. Like, but all the houses in Corraheen, the college has become much bigger. Ballincollig has nearly come to the city,
I remember I used to actually walk out there from Glasheen.
All the way out?
All the way out and back. And we used to go to the ASB grounds across the road for a drink.
Yeah.
No, he was a visionary, but things were tough then. The FAI weren't... oh my God. Irish football was in a very bad place.
And they didn't really care for the League of Ireland, really.
They didn't care about Cork.
Yes.
They never cared about Cork. And they certainly didn't care about the League of Ireland. Outside back then, the Shamrock Rovers were okay a team. They had their own troubles later on, which fortunately I actually helped out because I knew that a strong Shamrock Rovers was a strong League of Ireland.
Yeah.
So the FAI have an awful lot of answers or questions to answer, but then again, Cork Soccer has as well, because maybe 100 years and we still haven't got a patch of land to call our own. It's terrible.
It is terrible. But was it the Pat Donovan era? They went into Bishopstown. It was great potential there, and obviously the first season or two was okay, and this division was still there, you could say.
Yep.
And then it kind of all fell apart around 1996. Was that when you first started getting involved? Then there was a consortium came in, or
there was a consortium came in, and I was asked to join that consortium about 2 weeks later. And the first meeting I had with them was in Jury's Hotel, the old Jury's, and they said to me, "Jesus, Brian, thanks for getting on board, but we're actually folding the club." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Well, there's somebody in the club that we don't like." And I said, "Well, I didn't know any of these people. My first time meeting him." And I said, "Well, what's he looking for?" And they said he's looking for, we just said 20 grand. And I said, "Well, there was 7 of us there." And I said, "Can't we just all put a few bob together?
Yeah.
3 grand each. Here we go. Pay them off."
Yeah.
And it was going to say, "Oh, we never thought of that." So I said, "Look, give us another 5 grand each, and we see where this will take us." And we had some great years.
And they were good years. So that's when the first thing he moved back to Turner's Cross. So there was obviously a deal done with the Munster FA to get back in there.
Yeah.
And it was a very different Turner's Cross than what it is now.
Oh, yeah.
The shed was there, from what I remember, and there was maybe the Donny Ford was about to be built.
No, there
was
nothing.
Still a bit off yet?
Yeah, the Donny Ford came a couple of years later, and when they eventually built the Donny Ford, they discovered that the roof was a foot or couple of inches too high, and had to be taken down again. So that was another year gone by. There was it was tough work, but between the MFA and ourselves, we eventually got seats in the Donny Ford, and as it is now, it's a lovely stadium.
It is.
But there was an awful lot of work that went on behind the scenes to get it like that, and it wasn't like Cork City contributed big time to it.
It probably wouldn't be the stadium it is today without the club, realistically, because
no,
they brought the crowd as well. Then
no, but there was visionaries in the MFA, and I actually sat on some MFA meetings, plus I was on the FAI council and a few other things, and oh my God, what I had to listen to made no sense, most meetings, and it would drive you to drink some of the carry on. I mean, I used to go up to the Dublin meetings and get a train up there, and I'd sit down and I always had this plush hotel, and I'd rent it out, and it was all the Dublin teams, Ollie Byrne, the whole lot of them. It was actually just listening to Ollie Byrne more than anything else.
It was always quite more vocal than anybody else anyway.
And then there's a couple of other heads, again, I'd love to give you names, but I won't, who would run away with the meeting. And I remember there was a lovely man, was it Jim Roddy from Derry, and we both looked at each other at one meeting and just said, "Yeah, to hell with this, we go for a drink." So we went off to a pub, because we had they weren't in it for us. We were kind of outsiders. We weren't Dublin, and it used to bug the hell out of me. And I used to write in my program notes quite a lot about the Dublin run FAR league. And I remember they did eventually have a meeting in Rochestone Park, because I was saying it's a League of Ireland for all Ireland. It's not just a League of Dublin.
Teams, yeah.
So they eventually gave in to me and had a meeting in Rochestone Park, and I welcomed them in. My first line was "Welcome outside of Dublin." They didn't like that too much. But it was things like that, and when we won the league, the Press Association had a ball in Dublin where they give out the Player of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year, Manager of the Year, and all that type of thing. And I went up reluctantly, but Mick Devine won Goalkeeper of the Year, and it was the first time any player didn't actually turn up to receive the awards, it didn't go down too well. But I was absolutely thrilled. I went up and accepted on his behalf, and they cut me short. I was giving a speech and they couldn't.
You were about to go on a rant.
Yes, and Damien accepted his award, and of course he was very elegant in his.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it could have been me. Maybe I was over the top. And in fact, I remember writing something in my program notes and somebody sending me a letter saying, you know, Brian, you're becoming a little bit of a racist. Would you ever cop yourself on?
Anti-dub.
Anti-dub, but anti-English as well. And I kind of said, hold on a second, my father's English. So anyway,
it never made sense to you.
Yeah, but then again, I was kind of saying to myself, actually, I am losing the plot a bit. I want to cut myself on.
So like that time when that consortium, you went back to Turner's Cross, like, were you involved when the appointment of Dave Barry was made, and it was kind of very much like, this is a Cork club, let's get some Cork lads in, and
well,
it was a bit of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, we had fierce talents in Cork, but most importantly to me, I like, it was a small business, and what I saw, the first thing I saw was back then at half time the gates would open and anybody could walk in for free. And this was in GA, it was in all sports. And I said, that's wrong, because I mean, there was hundreds upon hundreds of people coming in. And that bugged me so much. And I said, you know, we got to stop this. So for the first 3 years, I stood on the gates. And so it was the abuse I got. I remember my father had not long passed away, and one fella came up to me in a suit. And he said, my God, your father would be turning in the grave if he saw you, what you're doing. And that made me more determined. Yeah, definitely. So I was very determined, and the amount of hate I got was unreal, but it worked. And it came to a point where I would not allow the gates open until the final whistle went. And I remember once the guards actually came up to me and said, Brian, look, for God's sake, you'll have to open the gates and leave them out. And I said, why? They said, the game is finished, you'll have to leave them out. And I said, you know, was it a good game or a bad game? He says, as far as I know, it was a bad game. We'll try and charge them again to get out. So, again, it was 3 years of hard work on the gates to take these freebies away from... I mean,
change the mindset.
Yeah, but there was actually gentlemen in suits outside the gates waiting to half time to walk in for nothing. And we don't want them in you know, I mean... So, like, I mean, it's a thing of the past now and people forget, but it was hard work, but we got it done. So that to me was the most important thing. Like, the only money that you could possibly make was on the gates and a bit of sponsorship. The signs are on the ground. So it was very important to get that money in. And
the players at this stage were still part-time, weren't they? This was like in the late 90s. You started bringing one or two kind of players then across the water as well. I remember Jason Kabia came in and Gerald Dobbs and a few, like there was a couple of them in amongst the local lads.
Yeah, but they would have been part-time as well.
Yeah.
Now the thing with part-time is that I remember going back a few years previous when I was working in a shop, and Paul Bannon and Mick Conroy used to live around where the shop was, and they had so much time in their hands. They were actually kind of full-time.
Yes.
And they had no training today, we say, or tomorrow, you know, because the lads only could work at night or train at night. So they were hanging around, you know, and I was saying, what, you know, they said, well, we might as well go into the bookies and whatever. And I kind of felt so sorry for them. And I said, well, if you had a full-time manager, you would have those players preoccupied. And I mean, when I eventually got involved and got them preoccupied, I actually had them out in schools. Around the place, I had some of them out modelling, you know.
Things, yeah.
So anyway, that's going forward.
The '98 Cup final though must have been a huge moment for the, I suppose, that consortium that took over that time. Like 2 years afterwards, and then there's the success.
Yeah, no, previously under Pat Donovan, we lost the cup final, which I was at, and I remember the players were devastated afterwards. Again, I wasn't involved with the team, but I don't know, I was around the team for some reason. But the '98 cup final was after two boring games. Derek Collin got a goal and we won the cup. And
they were boring games, alright.
Yeah, but it was a fabulous thing. We weren't expecting, and I think we got into Europe as well that year.
That's right.
And So the thing was, believe it or not, the thing that sticks out in my mind, which is kind of ridiculous, is that we got them all ties.
Okay.
Cork City ties.
Cork City ties.
Right. So we came off. We got the bus down to Guinness House, which was on the quay there near the City Hall.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Where kind of the lobby is up a bit.
Yeah.
Where the lobby was. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that sticks in my mind seriously is that the bus pulls up. Everybody's getting out of the bus, and all the fans are surrounding it, and they say, "Oh my God, that's Derek Collin! Hello, Derek!" And there's Dave Barry, And then I came out and said, "Who's he?" And that stuck in my fucking mind. I said,
"You were determined after that."
It's one of those things that, I mean, what match? It was the tie.
And the club went down after that because they were close. I think with the following season they were like second in the league or something like that. They kind of put a run together, but then. Again, as Cork clubs would have it, the kind of financial difficulties kind of started coming. Did they around 2000, or was it just?
No, we were all financially we were fine. I mean, again, there was 7 of us there.
Yes,
and we were all businessmen, and everything was grand. There was no problems, but around 2001, I think maybe they were getting a bit burnt out. The other 6. And
Leicester had come involved or something.
Oh yes, Leicester came involved.
Was that just the year before?
Excuse me. Sorry. I'm not sure. Maybe 2. Oh God.
It was an unusual one. They approached the club about kind of.
Yeah, but you see, they took our manager as well. I can't think of his name.
Colin Murphy.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
He did 2 games or something in Super Cup or something. I mean, it was ridiculous at that stage. It was kind of. It was a bit farcical. So he came back then. He took Damien Delaney. That's and another player. Was it Gamble? Was it or something like that?
Think. No, but Damien definitely went anyway. Damien on the podcast last year, and he talked about that move to Leicester and
and I know Leicester were giving us a few bob, but then we had to give up our best talent to them, and I said that makes no sense. No, I know I was on the board, but I didn't agree with it. But anyway,
okay.
So when I got involved myself, then I got rid of it. So
so the partnership was gone. So around 2001, then you officially kind of took the reins.
No, it was actually April the 1st, Fool's Day, 2002.
2002,
and I specifically asked for April the 1st. Because you would want to be a fool.
Take over the football club.
Yes. So the board and they're friends of mine. They agreed to let me have a go of it. And
did you have to buy them out, or did they walk away?
No. They walked away. Walked away. I mean,
they were happy at that stage.
Yes.
They had done their job. It was time to.
Yeah, and they'd done a fabulous job.
Yeah.
So then I was very lucky when I got involved that I had a backroom team. If I can mention a few.
Walk away.
Well, you had Liam Murphy and Patsy Frayne.
Yeah. Who were both legends of the club anyway, great players,
And then you had Stuart Ashton and Paul Bowdren and Tony Harris. And then you had the fact on the other side, then you had Noel Feeney, who was absolutely superb for me. Jerry Harris, John Flynn, to do my books, Bernard O'Donovan and Joe Hurley. And I know I'm missing out a load of people here, sorry, but you had such a good backroom team that any players were just a bonus.
Yeah.
And Liam put together a fabulous team. Of
course, Liam took over. I think like Derek Mountfield was there maybe for a season or something, and Liam took over, and that was kind of the starting of the new era. He brought in a couple of Cork lads that had been across the water, like say John and a Georgie and stuff like that, and it changed the mindset.
It did, yeah. And again, I remember previous to that we were in a European game, maybe a couple of years previous, and I'll never forget it. We were beaten by a team that was absolutely wouldn't get a game in the Shipping League or the Business League. They were shocking, and we were beaten home and away. And I was coming back on the plane after the game, and the players were all happy, and I said, "What are you doing?" And they said, "Oh, we got a goal." And I said, "What do you mean? Morley got a goal?" And they were happy with that. And I said, "What? You're happy to lose a game?" So I knew straight away that mentality had to go. No disrespect to anybody who was on that team, But a lot of them were coming to their careers anyway, so we had to get in fresh players in. So
and that was the start then of the club kind of turning professional.
The following year, when Liam did 1 year, which, bear with me here now, when I took over the club, I did something very strange. I said, okay, I can't manage them, I can't play with them, so what can I do to improve their setup? And I said, going up to Dublin every Friday night must be an awful hindrance. Now, again, I'm working on a chip shop, I don't go to away games. So I said, best thing I can do is to make it easier. Now, back then you could get flights to Dublin.
Do the Ryanair flight, yeah?
I think there was Aer Lingus back then. Yeah. And Jerry Harris and myself, we bought loads of tickets. They were very cheap, and it actually was. We saved money doing it this way, so we flew them to every away game. Up to Dublin.
And they went up on the morning of the match?
Yeah, on the afternoon.
Yeah.
Got up there, played the game, the plane was held back for us, and then we came back. Now, fabulous idea. I said that'll give touches over the head. We lost every bloody game. We won every home game, we lost every away game. So it was back onto the bus the following year.
Maybe there was a small bit of jet lag or something.
Yeah, but these are the things that you like, kind of, when you're...
It sounded great, like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So you have the opportunity to do these things, and you're actually saving money as well.
Yes.
So anyway, we tried.
You tried it. And, like, I suppose the big change was, like, Liam did a brilliant job of bringing in back those players, but then how did Pat Dolan come about? Like, did you chase him down, or someone tell you he might be available?
Yeah. Well, as I said, Liam told me that he was on his last year, and I said fine, and I asked him to come upstairs and help me, if you don't understand what I mean. So Liam went up to become technical manager, and the two of us and John Flynn. So we heard Pat Dolan was interested, so we met Pat, and within one meeting he was hired. And I remember it was a huge, I mean, the press, the PR at the time was unprecedented. Everybody wanted to know who the manager, because I had so many CVs in and all the rest of it. And for some reason, we at that stage we'd opened something in Cork that everybody really wanted to know what was going on in Cork City. So we held a press conference in Guinness House. I think it was Guinness House, and sorry, no, I think it was Guinness. It was either Beamish or Guinness.
Probably
it was
Guinness.
It was Guinness,
yeah.
And we held a press conference, and I was to unveil the new manager. And I mean, even my wife, I didn't even tell my wife who the manager was. I mean, I can keep a secret.
And so there was a lot of press there, and they didn't know who it was going to be.
No one knew a thing. And then he was introduced. But whatever way I looked around, I noticed that they had all the actual press briefs. Noel, unfortunately, saw all the press briefs and handed them out before the game. Oh my God. After keeping the secret for weeks and weeks and weeks. Noel,
but at least it was, like, the internet was kind of there, but it wouldn't have been to the same extent. No, there was no social media, so it didn't probably go that widespread straight away. It would probably take a bit of time. Maybe radio had it or something like that.
Well, radio and TV. Again, we opened some type of box that hadn't been open in Cork for some reason. I mean, we were actually on national television. Sorry, the RT News and such.
Yeah, and TV3 or whatever.
So I don't know, something happened, or maybe it's just pure luck.
And I suppose he would have been, he shot the film kind of with Pats and stuff like that, and he would have been on TV. I think he was doing something with RT on the television for the Premier League or something. So he was and he wrote for the Star. So he was a bit of a larger than life character. So probably brought attention with him as well.
He did. He was a celebrity.
Yeah.
A huge celebrity, and you couldn't but miss him. But I mean, literally, I was lucky enough to actually walk down the street with him, and the amount of people that came up and shook his hand, and I couldn't get over it. And I remember one of the few times we went for a meal, I don't know, somewhere in town, and it was like a queue going up to shake his hand, and I was so embarrassed because you know what I mean, I work in a chipper, you know what I mean. So it was great fun, but he really brought us to the next level, as in PR wise, and Oh
He
my
was like
God.
a commercial manager nearly as well, wasn't he?
Well, he was. He was a commercial manager back in the day with St. Pat's. So he actually brought a couple of sponsors with him. He had brought Nissan and a few others. So it was great. He opened so much for us.
And gave the club a bit of confidence as well, didn't he? I mean, that 2004 into Tour Cup run really kind of like it was like the opposite of what you said. Where they go about, they were coming back on the plane delighted with a goal. This time they were beating teams.
Yeah. I mean, his he had every little detail had to be done, and he was demanding for a chairman. He was very demanding.
Yeah,
but I could see the logic to it. No, he was very demanding on the players, and now 20 years later, some of the players will actually tell you what went on. But at the time, there was nothing went on outside. You know, I mean, nobody talked about it. So if you're talking to any of the players, you ask. I'm not going to tell them.
I know some of them said he called their house looking for them and all this kind of stuff.
And he'd go through the fridge and all that type of thing.
Yeah,
you
kind
know.
of mad stuff.
Yeah. Of course, he loved the chipper as well, so he used to.
Yeah.
You know, but God bless him, he had a fine appetite.
Yeah. But like, I suppose like that must have been a great buzz for you though, to like beat a well-renowned Swedish team, a Dutch team. Like it must have been magic.
Well, it was, and I think it was actually winning the first game away from home. What was the first game?
They were playing in Malmo. Like, yeah.
I mean, to beat them away at home was kind of what?
Yeah.
And then
this is something that Cork City doesn't do. Like, Irish teams didn't really do, to be honest.
But actually, to win away out there was something else. And I remember coming into the hotel and all the fans just made a line.
And the Guard of Honour type of thing.
Guide of Honour, yeah. And Pat Donovan threw me in front of everybody, and I walked along, and I was purple in the face, but I really, really liked it. I liked that.
Yeah.
That particular time. It's one of the highlights
of your time.
Yep.
So the success with Pat, how did it come about? Like, because you were competing for the leagues, I think he might have been second on the Pat. What happened to say that you got rid of him and brought in Damien?
Sorry, just there was a plan with Liam Murphy that we go top 4, top 3rd, top
that was the
2,
plan.
top 1.
Okay.
So Pat came in and we came 3rd and got into Europe. Pat came and we came 2nd, got into Europe. And the start of the season, Pat questioned the training facilities. And I could not allow anybody question or give any reason why we couldn't win it. Now, what you're doing at the start of the season is you're giving the players an excuse. I couldn't have people getting an excuse not to win the league. So
you didn't want that mentality before creeping back into the club again.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was one or two other things which we'll leave out, but bottom line is it was either me or Pat, and Pat had to go, and that was it.
So you didn't see eye to eye, in other words?
No, I tell you now, Pat and myself always gone on, but there was a wedge between, there was people in the background, not on my side, that were pushing Pat, and he became a little bit more distant, and there was nasty things going on, and I knew they weren't coming from Pat. Pat's a lovely gentleman. There was people in the background who were
causing trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was.
So you went back to your old friend in Cork Hibs, and you obviously Damien was already manager at the club previously on Pat O'Donovan.
Yeah, but
and had kind of left hastily, if I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I didn't know Damien that well.
Didn't you?
No, but I knew of him, and I knew his reputation. I knew he was a good manager, and I knew he would be the good fit. So I rang him the day before I sacked Pat, and said
he was there, available.
Yeah. I said so I said, "Are you up for a challenge?" And he said, "Yeah." So that was it. Now, one of the things that I learned straight away was just like when I unveiled Pat, I wanted to keep the Damien thing a secret. So I said to myself, right, tell everybody not to open their mouth that Damien's taking it on, But one thing it taught me was that Damien had already told the press.
Okay.
So
again, he was another media personality.
He was another media personality, but he was, like, for instance, front at Aco, Pat Dolan sacked, back at Aco, Richardson hired. And that was not my intention.
Yeah.
I wanted to unveil Richardson in a
Separately.
proper way. So so the following day, I think, just before, so when I sacked Pat, I had to have a meeting with the players in Rochestone Park. And the biggest worry I ever had in my life was that we said we were meeting at 7:30. And at 20 to 8, there was no sign of anybody. And I said, oh my God, they're after turning on me.
Yeah.
And so, but then they all started coming in, sat down, and they said straight away, are you after just sacking Pat? And I said, yes, I am.
Yeah.
And they said, why? And I told them the reason why. And I told them a story that I won't go on about.
Okay.
And I said, look, that's the way it is. And Liam is taking training tomorrow. And we're getting a new manager in the next couple of weeks.
And what was the general feeling?
Oh, it was discussed. I mean, you must understand that they'd built up a great relationship with Pat.
They probably run through a wall from two, probably, I'd imagine. Yeah.
And you had Kevin Doyle and Shay Long, who Pat brought down. You had George, who loved Pat. And I can totally understand that. Like, they loved him, they got very close to him, and he brought him to this fitness that they themselves couldn't get over. I mean, they were literally supermen.
Yeah.
And it was down to Pat. And so, unfortunately, that's football.
And it happens a lot. Damien came in, but really nearly took him to the next level, obviously. Like, I mean, that season, they were phenomenal.
Yes, but what Damien did was just leave him play. They were so wound up with Pat that Damien released the spring. So the thing is that they played with freedom, and you can see the football was.
It's something that Roy O'Donovan mentioned actually when he was saying that the attacking football they played under Damien was like, it was brilliant. He loved doing it. He loved playing it under him. Like, yeah.
So that was great. And so, I mean, it wasn't just Damien, it was Pat and Liam that helped win the league in 2005.
It was a combination of all those three.
Oh,
it was like gradual steps along the way.
Yes.
And it must have been like a fairy tale then, the last night of the shed.
Yeah.
To win the league, know.
Yeah, I'm so happy somebody made a documentary on it. And I didn't realise it was there for years and years and years. I only saw it maybe about 10 years ago. And I was so thrilled. I honestly forgot about the last day of the shed and all the rest of it.
Because I suppose when you're in the mix of it all, some things pass you by quicker probably, I'd imagine. Like, you're probably trying to organise everything on the night or different things. And
yeah, see, an awful lot of people wouldn't realise. I mean, well, you would. You're involved in the club. There's so much in the background, and if I was writing a book, it would be there's more than 90 minutes.
Yes.
The fan sees the 90 minutes, but my God, getting the stadium ready, getting the programs ready, getting the gates ready, getting everything, getting the players ready, the actors as I call them, getting the manager, everything, and then final whistle goes, everybody goes away, but you still have to get the place ready, come down, and so it's every day was working on the next game, be it home or away.
And how were you managing all of that? And also, you were obviously still managing the chip shop at the same time.
Yeah. I was working 18-hour days in the shop, and for instance, the day after we won the league,
it
was Friday night. I was working Saturday morning.
Straight back
doing
in.
18-hour day.
You weren't off celebrating with all the lads in town,
No. I mean, but it didn't concern them where I was, and people are very selfish in their own way, including myself.
Yes.
So it didn't. I don't look for medals or anything like that, and all I just wanted to do was entertain the Cork people and do something that I thought I could possibly do, which was bring us to a new level.
But was it maybe you thinking back to the four-year-old yourself, like of all those guys taking the few bob and smoking cigars and stuff and not really doing that much? You were kind of doing the opposite then, working hard, but you were delighted with the rewards of just the result.
Yeah, I mean, there was no money to be made, and we all know that.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd just like to thank my wife, because we built a house just around 2000, and the first 4 years, Rena, by the way, first 4 years we had no carpets, no kitchen. We had a small little cooker that we used to plug in.
But you had a few centre forwards.
Yeah. So we suffered, but again, people didn't know that, and I didn't want people to know.
Yeah.
It's my own business. No, it's 20 years later. I don't mind people knowing now.
Yeah, but it's not like you were this like millionaire or something came in and you were there for the passion. You want to keep.
Yeah, but I mean, it's business sense as well. I mean, there's common sense. If you can run any business with common sense, then you should succeed. Now, I know I just closed down my chipper, but that was health reasons. Not that I'm not well, but it's just that I just couldn't keep it going. It was too busy. So anybody would tell you, right, we have a product in Cork City. It can work. What I needed to do was to have characters on the field. So if I had 11 people on the field that the fans knew who they were, like back in the Hibs day where you could name the team.
Like you mentioned the word actor, and I know you meant that in a good way, because in many ways people come for entertainment, don't they?
Yeah.
So you probably wanted that kind of character on the pitch that took on different roles. So players like George O'Callaghan probably really sold it to the Cork public.
Yes, I mean, I knew, on Patrick Street there was fellas drawing, those fellas on the footpath. And when they had actually Georgie and John being drawn, I kind of said, we are doing the right thing. And except one day, I always remember John and George passed in a sports car, roof down, two blondes in the back, waving at me in the shop, and I was sweating, and I waved back, and I turned to the fellow I was working, and I said, "Isn't that lovely?" And it took me a whole 30 seconds to cop on. I said, "Hold on a sec, I'm paying their wages, and I'm the one who, so..."
They were like celebrities, though. I don't think people realise how big they were.
Oh, no, I mean, this is what it is. But the club helped them become, and as I said, we tried to get models, we hire them out as models, etc., etc. There's an awful lot you can do if you're working for me. Okay, and if you're willing, I can get you other gigs. I can get you, I used to look after them like a family. For instance, you wanted to buy a house, I'd go out and find out what I could for you, or I knew somebody who would. You wanted to buy a car, something similar, and so we became a big family. So that was, and we played for each other. That was the most important thing. There was no regrets until the cup final.
Until the cup final.
Yeah.
I suppose, why did they celebrate too much, did you think?
They kept me out of it. But we had for us had a get together there last week in Collins, and Joe Gamble more or less said that they were on the drink for the 2 weeks celebrating. That was the first time I've ever heard the players actually say that to me.
They admitted it.
Yeah. And
there's probably regrets on their behalf as well, probably for over-celebrating.
Absolutely. No, I personally, on hindsight, I can blame myself, but I'm working a chipper.
Yeah.
I have a manager. I'm sorry, no, Mr. Manager. You're the one who was supposed to be making sure that they didn't go what they did.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew the night before the game, we had a warm-up at training on the pitch, and there was the dressing room was full of age people selling, or not selling, giving them boots, etc., etc., and they were all having new boots and all this, and it was like, what the hell is going on in this dressing room?
Yes.
At that stage, because I never went into a dressing room, that wasn't my forte or anything like that, but I should have at that stage told everybody to get out and cop themselves on, but I didn't, because again, I just
that's not your job. You felt that was the manager's job to do that kind of. Yeah.
So it was an awful shame, because it would have been actually my father who won it in 1950 or 51. It would have been only the second time, so my nephew, which would be Jackie Lennox's grandson,
Neil, obviously,
would have actually achieved something that his grandfather had done,
which would have been fantastic.
It would have been, and again, hindsight is a great thing, and as we, at that get-together, they did say that was their biggest regret. But it's just making sure that when, like, I got involved in UCC coaching, and in the dressing room, trying to express not leaving any regrets on the field. It's one of the most important things, and it's when you're talking to young people, it's not that easy for them to understand.
It's actually a very short career.
Yeah.
So, like, there'll be plenty of time to celebrate afterwards, like these kind of anniversary gigs and all that.
Yeah.
You could, if you have success, I suppose, you can have them every 10 years in many ways and enjoy it then. But I suppose it's hard for a young person to understand that.
Well, one of the nice things actually from that team was the amount of players who went on to coach.
Yeah.
I think nearly all of them went on to coach. But
maybe because of the 3 different coaches that they had, they learned a lot.
Well, also, I was pushing him because they had an awful lot of time on hand, so I was pushing him to do the licenses. And I got some deal where they could go up and do some coaching courses.
Yeah.
Now, again, they probably won't remember that. And why?
So
why,
you start. You kind of
why
helped
should
them.
they?
Yeah.
Why should they? So it's fabulous when you see the likes of Neil Fenn,
and Liam and Joe and all. They're all doing some sort of coaching and training, and there's so many of them at it.
And including myself now as well, which is unreal.
So you obviously picked up a bit off him as well, but you were there for another kind of, what would I say, 2 years maybe at the helm. They had a good European run the following year, like in the Champions League qualifiers.
That was actually a nice one. We went to Cyprus.
That's right.
I think that was our second game. I think we won the first game. I can't remember. And we went to Cyprus, and the president called him, not chairman, they call themselves presidents over
in
there.
those countries, yeah.
So he was a minister in the government, and he was another larger than life character. And my God, he gave me some reception over there. I mean, it was quite embarrassing. I'd say the president of Ireland wouldn't have got what I got. And I mean, it's wasted on me. I mean, literally all this food and all the rest of it, a bag of chips and a sausage is fine for me, and I can't eat all that stuff. But it was that game. So whatever, I think, I can't remember the results now, but I remember he had me sitting down in his director's box, and all these people around him were all yes sir, no sir, clapping nicely, and lo and behold, they got a goal, and he was thrilled, and everybody was tapping him on the back and all the rest of it. Only for about 20 minutes to go didn't Dan Murray go up and score, which meant that we had an away goal. They had to get 2 goals.
Yeah.
Well, I've never saw a man change. He went from this lovely gentleman to this madman, and he started effing and blinding, and he eventually turned around and said, "Sorry, Mr. President, I must go," and stormed out of the place. And I said, "Look, lads, I'm not hanging around." So I had to get over there as well, because I hate that kind of environment. So, but that was, these little memories that you have that nobody knows. I mean, some of the fans were up in the stands. I was stuck with a load of Cypriots, not able to clap or anything. But
and anyway. And probably they didn't expect Cork City to play
no.
Like, they see us as kind of Irish minnows in many ways, and we were always kind of.
Yeah, but we again, this is pre what we have now. So we used to actually send tapes of ourselves over. So, and they do the same thing, and we used to send the worst tapes, So we're a terrible team, and we'd actually use everything we can to, fool them into thinking that they have nothing better to do than turning up. So that's what we did, and we did very well. But obviously, do go to a level where you haven't. I mean, I think it was Slavia Prague, was it?
I was like Red Star Belgrade or something like that. Because I think were we one match away. If we'd beaten them, we could be playing AC Milan or someone like that. I remember at the time. Yeah.
But I knew at that game. In fact, before that game, Damien had a heart complaint, and his assistant Dave Hill took over, and we did the wrong thing the day before the game. We went to the stadium for training, and we went too early, and this is where you learn things. So we went into the stadium. They were still training on the stadium, on the pitch, and we hung around, and we took away the surprise.
Okay.
We were a small team, if you remember.
Very, yeah.
And they passed us, and they looked down at us, and they put the fear of God into us by just laughing at us. We lost the game just there and then. And it's one of those things that we should have just hid away, turned up on the night, but just 5 minutes.
These are things you learn on hindsight.
You learn, we shouldn't have been next near it, but we lost that game there and then. And, so, and to get to that level as well, because, I mean, they were big boys, and we had 2 suspended. And I knew on the team that we just weren't good enough. So to get to the next level, you need investment. And for all the time I've been saying that I needed investment.
You need someone to come in and help.
Yes, to get to the next level.
Yeah.
So I knew we had that level, but to get to the next level, we needed investment, big time. Now, I went around, met an awful lot of business leaders in Cork. As soon as they found out that we had no assets, not a blade of grass, they just didn't really want to know.
That was always the problem, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was very hard to get investment until a man called Jim Little came knocking at the door. And he came in and he rolled his share the club into a cadja. And they ran it very strangely. They kept me on as chairman.
Did you ever get to meet that guy, Gerard Walsh, then, the guy that
I got to meet him when he pulled the plug. I met him in some hotel in town, and straight away I could see by his dirty cuffs.
Yeah.
That this is a bluffer.
Okay.
Now I might be wrong. Sorry. No.
Yeah.
And he said, "Look, I have no money left. Will you take the club back over?" And I said, "Yeah, but you're after." I mean, they ran the club into the ground, as in they paid stupid money,
they
wages.
They were crazy stuff at the time, right?
Yeah, and they ran
huge
up
bonuses and all this kind of stuff.
It
Yeah,
was absolutely the players' dream.
Yeah, it was good for the players.
Just ask Dennis Bean, he's still driving a lovely Mercedes. Sorry, Dennis, I'm only joking. So it was ridiculous, and yet I was chairman, and I was saying no, lads, and whatever I'd say no to, they'd go the opposite way, or it was ridiculous.
And they brought all the boys back for me, because I remember being there at the time, and
they
Danny and George and all them came back.
Yeah, and I mean it was so. Long story short, anyway, I resigned some stage anyway. I can't think. Anyway, I resigned and the club folded. They went into examinership.
So before they went into examinership, you met him. He tried to give you the club back, kind of thing.
Kind of. But at this stage, I mean, there was no way in hell. I mean, he still had it. He didn't meet me on his own. He had a minder or two with him.
There was always a few people around there. I remember there was a guy came off from Italy or something. There was a very weird kind of characters.
Strange, I mean, I can't really say. I don't know who's listening to this now, because I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they had hitmen out there. But there was definitely a guard with your man, an ex-guard.
That's right, I remember actually.
And I mean, and a dour man. He actually broke my table in my office. Oh my God, they were horrible people, but they were putting money into the club, and so you're kind of saying, right, they're putting money into the club. But they're doing it stupidly, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
No, I honestly didn't think the end would come so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, when they came in first, Brian, have you a wish list? And I wrote down this wish list. Land being number one, training area.
And they said they were going to do all that.
All this. And yet, I don't know.
There was a bit of Celtic Tiger about the whole thing, wasn't there? I suppose, they were an investment company based in London, but they were actually Irish. The guy Gerard Walsh was Irish, wasn't he?
Apparently so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, to this day, somebody, please God, might investigate it, because I'd like to meet with these guys again, because I mean, they ruined my club and your club, and the fans club, and
that was kind of nearly the start of the kind of the club was very stable up to that point, and was always near the top of the league in many ways.
Yeah.
But they kind of put a bit of doubt in, I think, then at that stage.
Well, yeah, they had this fellow Aidan Tynan. I
Yeah.
don't mind me telling you this, right? There was 2 incidents. One, where one of his first games, he comes up and sits down next to me at a game, and he says to me, "How's it going?" I said, "Not too good. We're 1 down, and Dennis Bean has been sent off." And he turned around and he said, "Well, when is Dennis coming back on?" No, this is your chief executive.
Yeah.
Then we won the cup in whatever year, 2007.
That's right, yeah.
And he was with his wife in wherever it was be played.
Yeah,
And
RDS, I think, at the time.
And
yeah.
I was sitting next to him, and it looked like we were winning the cup. And he says, "I'm going away now." And I said, "Will you not wait for the cup presentation?" No, I couldn't be bothered. This is what you were dealing with.
Yeah.
He had no idea, and he didn't want Europe. He hated Europe for some reason. Somebody hated Europe. They didn't want Europe. So when Alan Matthews, we had a game and we were hammered somewhere in Norway or someplace like that.
Maybe Finland or somewhere. Right?
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Yeah.
And
Hack, I think, was it one of those?
I'm not sure, but and we were hammered, and I was so embarrassed. And I know the fans came up to me and said, "Brian, this is unacceptable." And I said, "I totally agree, 100% with you." And I met with Alan Matthews afterwards, and Alan had a big smile on his face, and I said, "Alan, that was not nice, or that we, that we didn't do too well. We were grand." There's that attitude back in again.
That you would try to get rid of.
Yeah. So you has to come all over the club.
Yeah. But the club was successful and then took a downward turn in many ways. Like.
But I remember, as I said, we flew to the Dublin games and all that, and John O'Flynn reminded me of this at the gig last week.
Yeah.
And because we were going to all these European trips, we used to charter planes for the team and for the fans. And one particular charter company was called CityJet. So my great friend Declan O'Connell from Lee Travel was organising all this.
Yeah.
So one of the things we used to do is bring some of the academy players with us, just
as
give
part
it
of the experience,
yes, and maybe 2 or 3, and then if So I was standing. No, obviously they didn't have a clue who I was, but I was actually walking behind them, and I saw a CityJet on the thing, and I said, "Oh my God, he's after buying us an airplane." And I kind of got a kick out of that one. So, but there's some fabulous stories, and I'm sure some of the other players and all the people around at the time. I'd love if Noel and Jerry Harris were still around today.
That's a pity, like, because they put so much into the club, and maybe we never got a chance to tell that full story. Like, and Noel was such a character. Like,
she was great. I used to kind of use her a small bit because I'm not the most outgoing person, and for some of these European gigs, I'd push her in front, and I said, "Noel," and because she had
she was larger than life, like, she was
hello,
brilliant.
love, how are you?
Yeah.
And she'd go around and she'd deflect everything away from me, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And I remember we're making a presentation, and they said, like, "We want to give this to the president, Noel." And Noel says, "That's not me at all, love. It's that boy over there, this fella there." So
I can still hear her saying, "I love it" in my head. The minute you say it. Yeah.
And I remember going off to France, and I brought John Creedon over because he told me he could speak French. And right, John, and he gets up to do the speech anyway, and in broken French.
Like Ron Nogara, was it?
Oh my God, John, I taught you. Oh Lord. But anything to deflect away from me, that was the most important thing.
Yeah, you kind of like staying kind of in the background.
Well, that's where you should be.
Yeah.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. If there was trouble, like over the years we'd have a couple of incidents in the shed or in Donny Forest Stand, I'd actually go up and sort it out myself.
Okay.
That's important, and I'd have no problem doing that because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, why would you send the guard to do it when? I'm one of them. I can do it.
You're the same guy to stop them from coming in at half time, or not the genuine fans, but like, do you know what I mean, people. So
I think we all have the same goal. Just because we're not winning, I mean, this is the time when we're not winning, when things aren't going well. This is the time we all have to stick together.
Yeah.
It's easy to kind of blame this fella or that fella or the players or whatever, but it's no that everybody has to stick together and come together.
But you stayed involved in the club. So even though, obviously, the club went into examinership that time, then obviously we went through a period under kind of another kind of difficult ownership. We won't say much about that, but and then Forrest took over. Did you kind of advise Forrest, like how?
Well, Forrest were around when I was asking for investment,
Yes.
and they came to me. And in fairness, now they said that they could help me out a bit, but realistically,
They didn't have
they were talking pennies. I was
Yes.
looking for pounds, and I respect them still. So I was always a sponsor for us, and I put money behind for us, and what about it? And so did an awful lot of people. There's an awful lot of goodwill out there. So again, I was sponsor, but Forrest important that Forrest would run it themselves, and they didn't want me at that stage. I mean, I was kind of villain because I'd left the last crowd in and all that type of thing.
Yeah. Did people turn on you over that?
No,
No.
believe it or not,
But
no.
did you turn on yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
like regret kind of?
yeah. But I'd be quite honest with you, it was a blessing in disguise for me, because I honestly would have run into debt.
Yeah.
And my business was my family business.
Could have taken that down as well. would you?
Yeah, and so it was very important, and it was just fortunate for me that they came in at the time they came in, and freed up my penny. I could actually get my carpets on my kitchen in.
The house was done up after that. So, like, and then as the years went on, you stayed as a sponsor, did you? Like, because the women's team was sponsored by Lennox's and stuff like that.
Yeah, I set up with Forrest the Patriots scheme, which is based on something in the likes of joining a golf club.
Okay.
You know, you pay initial fee, and then every year you pay, what do they call it?
Kind of membership,
Yeah,
subscription
a
type of thing.
subscription,
Yeah.
So I set that up, and Forrest and myself, we actually launched it. It was Roy Keane launched it in college. I don't know how many years ago it is now. And I'm still the only one. So it was a case that there are businessmen out there willing to do what I'm doing.
But was it always a challenge to get those kind of Cork businesses to get behind? Like,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of competition, whether it's the GA, whether it's rugby or whatever. Like, was it always a challenge, like, to get?
It was, but I would do anything I could possibly to get a deal over the line, as in calling in myself. I was the last resort. I was the quiet fellow, you know, so I'd send people up to, and then I'd come along, and believe it or not, people actually thought I was some type of celebrity or something, and far from it. I mean, I have an apron on, I'm working the chipper, and but people actually like to talk to me, as in they had to have me around for some reason. So it was always challenging, and I mean, we went to Pfizer's, we went to Apple, we went to every place that you could possibly think.
Yeah.
And we were politely turned down that they don't do that type of thing. We went every big business. It's very hard.
Obviously, Beamish were like Al Smithy and stuff like that backed
Yes,
the club at the time.
Al Smithy was very good to us.
Yeah.
And he was actually on board with me as well.
Yeah.
So I and of course I used to court the press as well, which was very important to me. So I used to any PR is good PR, and if you can get them on side. Now again, things have changed totally, but back in the day when people read newspapers or listened to the radio, having those people
on your side,
and I used to bring them over to Europe. No, they paid, but not as much as they should.
Yes.
So I remember we were at some match in Europe, and I had them all, the Dublin press, the Cork press, and most of the English press, and I had them all in a room, and I said, whatever happens, lads, please just be kind to us. You know, we're doing our best, and as you can see, everything has been done professionally. I mean, you don't see the players messing around or anything like that. And they all agreed, Brian, we'll respect what you have done. And lo and behold, we won the game.
Yeah.
So they were thrilled because I made them part of the club.
Yeah.
Even, you know, and to this day, an awful lot of Dublin press actually meet me after the games, you know, so it's nice.
Yeah, so like when the fans used to sing that song about you, like, we don't need Abramovich Brian sells loads of chips. Like, that must have made you laugh, I'd say. Did it kind of,
Well,
like, did you kind of like, that was a kind of their way of endearment to you, kind of, in many ways.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was actually one of those European games we were at. Was it Malmo?
Probably one of them, yeah.
And they started singing in a pub. We went to a pub after the game. And I said, oh my God, they were insulting me in some which way. And I asked Jerry Desmond, I said, Jerry, what's this all about?
Yeah.
And they said, Brian, actually, they're actually singing good about you.
Yeah.
And I said, are you serious?
Yeah.
And I honestly couldn't get over it. And just to prolong that little thing, my brother Duncan used to help me out big time as well.
Duncan, yeah.
And the Shed got to know this, so
Yes.
they added a line onto, how did I say it again?
We don't.
Brian sells lots of chips and Duncan sells sausages. I mean, you only get that in the Shed.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but it's the Cork humour as well,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So it was things like that. And of course, Neil Horgan, his one is so boring, he hates it. So it just goes Neil Horgan. Yeah. And I like to kind of wind him up on that now and again.
You had the better song, like, yeah. But like, so like, is it hard now for you? Like, I see at the matches and you sit at the back, and like, is it hard for you not to be involved? You know, like,
no, I mean, the thing is, I can actually, I can sit there nice and gently. I mean, literally, when I was involved, I used to smoke a pack of fags.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to smoke there anymore.
Yeah.
I can relax, and I feel so sorry for the people who are involved. There's nothing going correct. There's nothing going right. There's no luck, and I mean, there's no. I had fierce luck. There's nothing. Poor Dermot comes in, and he's nothing but bad luck.
Injuries and everything.
Oh
yeah.
God, everything. I mean, you know, I mean, he's the type of fellow who walk out in the rain with, cloud will come over.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but you can get rid of that, and mostly, I mean, I think he'll have to start enjoying it, and take it on the chin. But
it's probably hard though when fans are on your back, is it? Like, did you ever have that stage where they were on your back?
There would have been when I sacked Pat Dolan.
Yes.
I mean, there was death threats.
Yeah. Did anyone ever say anything to you in the chip or anything like that come in?
Oh,
and give out
yeah. But I think the biggest one was when we were playing in the Sant'Anta Cup match, and there was kind of a gathering outside the gate where the horseshoe is. Maybe about 50 of them, and they wanted blood, and I know the security came up to me and said, Brian, you can't walk. And I said, no. Walk down. So I sent the security away and walked down on my own through the crowd and walked into the horseshoe. And I remember the players found out and actually ran down thinking that it was worse than what it was. I was actually inside having a pint, you know what I mean? But the fact that I walked through them, that I wasn't afraid, that that tells people that that you're up for the job.
Sometimes a lot of it is just kind of the heat of the moment. Like it's shouting. They won't probably actually do anything to you. Probably.
Oh my God! Yeah, the bark is worse than the bite.
Yes.
It's a Cork thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cork people are the worst in the world for barking.
Yes.
But we're we don't bite at all. And we're very fickle about our clubs, our teams, GA, rugby, whatever. And
they'll drop you. Like you probably noticed that as well. Like, so you'd have full houses for 2005, and then maybe the following season the numbers would drop off again.
Well, actually, we won the league in 2005, gone into the Champions League, first time Champions League ever been played in Cork. Now, if you remember, the Shed End was closed.
That's right.
So I think that led about 5,000 seats. And believe it or not, there was only 3,500 people at it. It was the first time we played Champions League, and there was only 3,500. And that was the kick up the arse that I got that day. And I said, Jesus, that's hard. This is tough. I thought, God, we'll fill it 5,000, no problem. I really got a shock.
And it's always been like that, hasn't it? There's a core following, but then the rest kind of come and go, don't they?
Yeah. We just have to build up the core. If we can build up the core, and if we had the answer to it, we'd all have done it before. So it's just, I don't have the answer either. But the most important thing at the moment, I find it hard to know the players' names. I find it, as a spectator who goes to all the home games, I don't know who number 10 is. Is he new or? I don't know who number 16 is.
Yes.
Was he out injured or what? I don't get that buzz.
What do you put that down to?
I'm not sure.
The fragmentation of media or something, maybe?
I think that the club hasn't embraced media, as in, like, for instance, the Echo gone. I haven't, do the Echo still write about Cork City?
I presume they do, but the problem is, do people read it in the same way as before? And these are, I suppose, this is the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, do the Star still write them? They used to have great articles.
Yeah.
So again, I think the club have to really think about their PR and really, go to bed with somebody, get a big PR person or something, and reinvent the club
and make stars again of the players. Is that? Do you think that is key?
Well,
even though, like, it might upset you with a sports car going down Parker Street.
Yeah. Well, it's not stars as characters. Again, it's like the characters
like
in a film
and stuff like that. Again. Yeah.
It's like watching a film, and you know the actors straight away.
Yeah.
So you have a good director, good actors. I'm the producer.
Yes.
And so it's,
and people buy into that then.
Yeah, they could, but then again, I'm 20 years ago, so
yeah,
I'm old news.
So it's in many ways it's more than just the football. It's the story, the person. They want it, like, I suppose with the likes of John O'Flynn, the likes of George, the likes of Liam. They bought into them, didn't they? Like, they were kind of larger than life characters in many ways. The style of Neil Finn. There was some of the lads had shops in town and everything at the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, actually going back to the Hibs days, we had the chipper.
Yeah.
But outside that, nobody else used their name, which I always found strange. I mean, there was Sonny Sweeney should have opened a sweet shop or something like that, and for some reason, I know John Herrick had a business up in Galway.
Yeah.
But outside that, there was nothing, and I'm surprised there, as you said, that the two boys opened, Fenn and Gamble had a. But outside that, none of them have really gone out and used their name. I mean, there's Mick Devine on the boat over. He was telling me that he was talking to Roy Keane. He was on that clip, remember when Roy Keane went over to...
Oh, yes, yeah.
Did you see Mick Devine on the clip?
I didn't see him at all.
They went over on the ferry. So he actually did an interview and it was cut.
For the overlap thing when they did it?
Yeah, he was going mad.
Yeah, because he would obviously played with Cove as well. Like,
But,
yeah, so like it's that's an interesting take on it, because I think a lot of people don't think of that, the fact that if more people know who they are, they'll buy into them a bit more.
No, it's not I know I'm going back now.
Yeah.
It's not that easy now. Apparently, the under-15s now have agents. So everybody in the club now is an agent.
Yeah.
So every player, sorry.
That didn't exist in your time.
It did, but it did not to what it is now. So it's absolutely cutthroat now. Would I get involved again? Not at that. I'm sorry. No, I could talk to a player. No, we can't.
Yes.
It's ridiculous that all these agents, and I used to bar them and scouts. I used to bar scouts from Turner's Cross. I didn't want anybody touching my players. If they came near me, and they had thought they had God's right.
Yeah.
I'm Man United scout. I have God's right to sit in the best seat. Tell them to, right? I didn't want them anywhere near the VIP area, and I did no cup of tea, no nothing, because they're robbers. They're robbing your family. They're robbing you.
And back then you didn't get that much money for them either.
Oh God, yeah. That's it.
Bar the Roy O'Donovan time was probably the one exception, was it?
Yeah,
Because the club kind of got robbed in terms of Kevin Doyle and stuff, and
for
what he did afterwards, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kevin Doyle thing was down to a contract that a previous manager had put into it, so I had no choice but to leave him go. And Shane Long wasn't good enough for Damien by all means, so I was told I should leave him go, and Alan Bennett wasn't going to get his game so we'd leave him go as well. I hate this type of thing.
Yeah.
My family was torn apart by people who were selfish in the game.
Yes.
And
that I can still see the upset in your, because you had the core of a great team, and then you don't mind if you're getting rewarded for it, because you could use that money to maybe buy land or something back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you got the right rewards.
Yeah, so it's strange times, but the one about Roy Donovan really upset me because you probably know the story. I had him sold to Fulham, and so we were getting a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we played Sunderland in a friendly, and Roy Keane called into Roy Donovan, and now Roy had only 6 months left in his contract, so he was entitled to talk to him.
Yes.
So Roy Keane bought him for pennies, and I had him sold for pounds. And Mick Quinn, or what's the chairman? Niall Quinn came up to me and said to me, because we were at a function, I had to get up and give a speech, and oh my God. So Niall Quinn says, "Oh, I'm sorry, bad news. Roy is after signing Roy." I said, "You're not serious?" And he said, "Yeah." And we just standing there with a photograph of me. I said, "You could go away." I mean, he's 16 foot two.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I said, "Go away." And I told you, I lost it in my speech. They had a trophy in front of him, the championship trophy, and I called it a bit of British tin to go back with it and all this type of thing. So I was angry.
Yeah.
But so I don't know, what do we get for Roy Donovan?
It was $500,000 or something, was it in the end? Oh, well, that's what they said it was anyway. But
yeah, well, it was a hell of a lot, double that and more.
Okay, Fulham were off.
But anyway, we leave that under the carpet. Past tense, 20 years ago.
Outside of the game, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people, the minute they see your name, they're going to associate you with fond memories of going to Bandon Road.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been hard to walk away from it all last year.
It was, and the basic thing was, since COVID, trying to get staff is murder, plus trying to run a business has become increasingly difficult.
Lots of red tape,
you name it. It's like somebody has just thrown something at all small businesses.
Yeah.
Like they don't want us to exist. So the long story short is, my sisters Frances, Duncan and Brian aren't getting any younger, and we were there for 73 years, and it broke my heart to make the decision, and it really did.
And when did you start there as a kid, like working?
Oh yeah. Well, we all did.
Because you had a big family, like.
Yeah, there was 9 of us. So as soon as
all of you would have gone through it.
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as if you lift a bucket, you were downstairs. You know. So I mean, I went straight from Inter-Cert to.
Never anywhere else.
No, straight in there, and did 18-hour days. That was what we did. So, and you know, we never complained because that's the way we were brought up.
Yeah.
So it was one of the hardest decisions we ever had to make. But I can guarantee you to this day that if I had stayed open, I probably wouldn't be here today. That my health, I was down to 7 stone.
Whoa.
I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. You know, I literally stress, couldn't get staff. And it was getting busier and busier and busier. And I mean, literally, we were having to close it. The hours that we opened had to change. Yeah. We had to start closing Monday and then Tuesday just to get a rest. And it became so hard.
I'd imagine then as well, like I think I read something at the time, when a family business is so successful, of course the next generation then are all successful themselves, so they're doing other things in life, so there was no one to probably take it over, is there?
There was 1 or 2, but I would say that no. There wasn't, and the thing is, I have no kids. So, and Francis' kids are in the laundrette. Duncan has no kids. You know, so there isn't actually many
there to take it over.
So we have 2 brothers in Australia, another fellow in England. So they're different lives. Yeah, you know. So, but I tell you that last week when the crowds turned up, it was like, oh my God. It was like people in a procession to view a body.
Yes.
It was unreal. And they were there for hours.
Hours, yeah.
In the rain. and I
I
couldn't
remember
get
queuing
over.
for an hour or two myself, actually. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I was there.
No, I don't know.
I was there. I was talking to Mary anyway.
All
Definitely.
right. So I believe you, sir.
Who stepped back in after she had been
Oh,
away
well,
from
the
it
whole
for
family.
years.
There was 11 of the family in there that day, because I mean, literally, the last 4 days, there was 11 family members came in, and we needed them because we didn't have enough staff.
You were running out of food and everything.
We
at the
were
time.
running out of staff, we were running out of everything, but which is great. I mean, we didn't really expect to be hit like that, you know. I mean, it was a fabulous.
Became a national story as well. It was on the TV, and fellas were coming from Denmark.
I know. I was on actually a television in America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was international story. I couldn't get over it. I mean, literally, you know, it's only a chip shop.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, my parents worked so hard, and to this day, I kind of, you know, I hope I haven't let them down. You know, I get a tear in my eye when I think about it.
Because it obviously is a very hard decision to make. After that many years, over 70 years of business, to walk away from it, it's not easy.
No, it isn't. But at least it's opened up again now on the catch of the day.
Yeah.
And we're getting a small rent for it.
So you still own the building, and
yeah, well, yeah, we own the building. We're upstairs. We have. I still have my office upstairs. So, we have the laundrette, of course. And so it's we're still there, you know. So
yeah.
So again,
and you didn't decide to say, like, well, let's sell it and leave someone else take it over.
Yeah, you could have done that, but you would have gotten pennies.
Yes.
I mean, seriously. I mean, okay, we sell the building, we say 3 million. We just say, right?
Yeah.
Now there's 3 of us here, so that's $1 million each.
Yeah.
When you take tax out of it, that's 500,000.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
So,
yeah.
you know.
And then you could have the same thing that happened to you with Cork City, in terms of the wrong people take over and ruin the family name.
Yeah.
Which could happen.
Oh, yeah. So, no, I mean, there are people in Australia who want me to get involved in some chip shop over in Australia, in Perth, I think. So, as an open up at Jackie Lennox over in Perth, I mean, I can be bought.
But like as a consultant, or like kind of...
I'm not sure. I'll have to actually get back onto him. Sorry if you're listening, I forgot all about you. Get back on you.
You can meet up with Ryan O'Donovan, he's down there, so he might be able to bring you down. You can make up the loss of money between the 500,000 and whatever it was with Fulham at the time. But yeah, so what's retirement like for you now?
It's wonderful. Get up when you want to go. When you want to go to bed. When you want to do everything at your pace, at any pace I want to. No, I'm kind of a clean freak, so I'm constantly, and my wife gives me an awful doing off because I have this brush and scoop, and I'm constantly going around it, and she calls it my girlfriend, and I'm constantly going around with this brush and scoop, and so much so that she actually bought me a brush and scoop for Christmas to get me a new girlfriend. It was different colour. She was thrilled. I'm thrilled.
So she's probably saying she doesn't know what to do with you. Probably you're around the house.
Oh yeah.
Because you would have been busy.
Yeah,
non-stop.
absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, I have a nice garden, so I can do a bit of gardening, and I love walking and I love reading. So I have plenty to do, and as I said, I can do it at my own time.
Yeah, and like looking back on your time with Lennox, is like, what do you put the success down to? Like, obviously your mum and dad setting it up, but like one shop that generated so much, I suppose, business attention. But what you put it down to?
Well, hard work, more or less. My father was he was very particular. I mean, in fairness, now he wasn't. He was hard on us, as in a strict parent, which is fine.
Yeah.
And there was, all of us knew we all had to work. Food, it was cleanliness was the most important thing, and talking to the customer, and the location was fabulous. I mean, we were all
college and stuff.
Yeah, we were all outside myself and Mary. They were all born above the chipper.
Oh, there.
So my mother used to actually go up, be serving, go upstairs, and next minute she'd have a baby, and 2 weeks later she was back at work. But I mean, those were the way things were. So, but when I was growing up, Bandon Road was, all neighbours. Obviously, they're all gone now. And
there's apartments and everything all over the place.
Oh my gosh, so, but again, the name is very good, and it's been around for 70 odd years. So, We're very lucky, and Cork City people. I know there's a lot of UCC students says it's because of my involvement with Cork City. It has nothing to do with that.
But there's probably some of all parts, I
Yes,
imagine.
yes,
Is it like
yeah.
originally your dad being involved in, Cork Athletic, then Cork Hibs, and then, there's all that kind of, and then you involved with Cork City.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my father was also played boxing. He was the first boxing champion of Munster and Ulster at the same time. I think going back to the 40s.
So there was a lot of folklore around him.
My grandfather, his father was into business. He had a hotel in Crosshaven. My grandfather on my mother's side, he started up Borden Oak, so he was a huge GA man, and his son played with the Rockies. So there was loads of sport involved, and of course my father was in the corporation as well.
Yeah.
He lasted 4 years because he said there was a queue for chips and a queue for complaints, as in what can you do with my drain pipe and this. So when you're in the public eye like that, it is tough, but I got away with it, in being chairman of Cork City. Now people will come in and especially opposition fans, and they say, couldn't believe that I'm serving them. Yeah. Salt and vinegar, ketchup on your burger. And he's the chairman of Cork City. Yeah.
But that's probably made it special as well.
Because there was no airs and graces. That's the most important.
Confusion then, because a lot of people thought he also wanted one in Ballyvihan.
Oh yeah. We used to get a lot of phone calls. I got a burger last night and wherever.
Were they anything to do with G?
No, I just explained. My father and his brother, Frank. So Jackie opened Bandon Road and Frank opened Tory Top Road.
Yes.
And so Jackie is what we have, one shop. Frank's son took over and opened another business, and his son took over and opened a few more other businesses and also franchised.
Okay.
So that's them over there. So we actually all traded under the Lennox. So we had to change the name to Jackie Lennox.
So you were Lennox's, and then you had to go to Jackie Lennox's because of that confusion. And they were CF then or something like that.
Yes. So it's...
because people, if they weren't from the city itself, they often got the two confused.
Oh, I know, and people thought that, he must be a very wealthy man. He has chip shops all over the place. And, so they're thinking that I can buy them all a pint. No.
No, it's fine. Look, we could talk all day. It's been absolutely fascinating to hear the story. Who knows? Maybe you go to Australia next.
You never know.
You might get involved in a football club. You said you're involved with UCC now, is it?
Yeah, I was up to a couple of years ago. Just before I go, a couple of years ago, I bought some watches, and I know that the old fans would remember. Yeah. So I have a little gift here for you. It's a Cork City watch from back in the day. So
remember
Steve,
the old crest and
so
going back.
That's for yourself, and thank you very much for what you're doing for the club. And I hope your mother is in heaven, and we'll all pray for her.
Thanks a million, Brian. And listen, thanks for sharing your story. I'd say we're probably going to get a huge listenership for this one.
I hope so.
I think what you've done for the club over the years, and even there to get the fans at the moment to get behind the club, I think that's probably the message you have as well, is it?
Yeah, please.
Just get behind them.
Yeah.
We have a big match this week. But even bigger matches come in the league.
Yeah. And I'm a great believer in going and praying.
Yeah. So fingers crossed for the rest of the season.
Yes. Please God.
Well, thanks for coming in.
No problem. Thanks, Stephen.